And if you didn't, it's not my fault. And if you did, it is my idea. Anyway, want to introduce James and Joe. These guys helped prepare the meal, so let's give them a hand. It was excellent, and it's probably because of what I chose to have. I wanted peanut butter and jelly, and chef says, DC says, no, that's not good enough. So, but anyway, and then we'll introduce the Esther, your crew, please. He can get his own coffee just to. Anyway, here we are. We've got Esther and Mary Alice and Anna. Where's Anna? And Loopy. So you ladies do a phenomenal job. We appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. There we go. Anyway, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce Catherine Trumbull. As I said earlier, she's the president CEO at the Botanical Gardens. And she's got a great show to show. We're going to have a video, and she brought everybody some flowers. Okay, that really wasn't that funny. Anyway, my wife's shaking her head. I'll pay for that later. Anyway, Catherine, why don't you come up? And we look forward to hearing about what's going on at the Botanical Garden. And you've got your mic, and we're all set. Was that for me you're clapping? No, I didn't think so. Okay.
Hear me? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. It's really wonderful to be with you all. Is there any? Am I getting a little bit of?
You can adjust it over there.
Okay. Well, while we're figuring that out. Oh. It wasn't doing that a minute ago.
He's adjusting it now. Is it
good now? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, good morning. I'm Catherine Trumbull. I'm president and CEO of the San Antonio Botanical Garden. It's really an honor to be with you this morning. I was telling everyone at the head table how much the military means to me as well. My husband is retired Air Force, and so he retired about a year and a half ago. So, yeah. Thank you. And so I really appreciate that, and it's something that we're also teaching our girls to really have respect for people who serve in the military and also in law enforcement too. But I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the Botanical Garden and what's happening. And no, unfortunately, I did not bring flowers. But we do have a plant sale coming up. We do 5 plant sales a year, and the next one is actually next weekend. So that's a plug for the plant sale. Our Hort team will appreciate me mentioning that. At the Botanical Garden, our mission is enriching lives through plants and nature, and we are very much a cultural institution that we want you to make a part of your life, not one that you visit once every 5 years. And so part of what I'm talking about today are opportunities where you may see yourself being able to plug in. And as we come to a close with the presentation, I'll open up the floor to questions, and please just pepper me with them. I'm happy to answer any and every question that you have. But for those that haven't been to the garden recently, I wanted to just start with a little bit of stories about one of my favorite places in the garden, which is No Name Creek. And No Name Creek looks like a splash pad, but it's actually a replica of a dry creek bed that was modeled after the Texas Hill Country, with real fossils that are actually embedded into it that came from various board members' ranches whenever that garden was developed almost 10 years ago now. But what I love about it is it creates this beautiful space where kids can connect with nature. And often they don't even know each other's names, but they're engaging in nature play, and you have joy and laughter and community. And that's one of the most beloved spaces in our 39 acres. And so I wanted to share a little bit about that first. But it reminds me why access matters. Because every child deserves a place to explore, wonder, and belong. And that's exactly what we're building at the garden with our bold new master plan. About 2 years ago, in 2024, we spent 10 months really on a community-wide effort creating a master plan to help define key projects and key. Did they go back on? Yeah. Okay, great. For the next 10 years. And out of that plan really came two central themes. Plant conservation, so how do we become Am I moving too much? I might just need to do the hand mic. Can I switch to the hand mic? Yeah. Okay. No, I don't have one. Thank you. Anyway, so state. Video while we get the mic figured out. Okay.
Change. For a gardener, it's just part of the job. Because if nothing changes, nothing can grow. And that's why we're changing our brand. When it was introduced more than 20 years ago, it represented the Muy Grande hibiscus, a hybrid developed right here by a legend in plant science.
Uh-oh, man.
Amazing new plant hybrids. Oh, that's one serious papaya. But while the Muy Grande hibiscus is a great representation of where we've been, it doesn't represent where we're headed. You see, the hibiscus isn't native to Texas, and over the last years, we've shifted our focus to creating new.
It's not me, I'm not touching it.
We are leading the effort to conserve our state's rare and endangered plants. Those Dichromanthus cinnabarinus are coming in nicely. And our garden is so much bigger than any one flower or any one plant. It's even bigger than plants. It's iconic architecture. Emilio Ambas's finest work, if you ask us. It's a landing spot for all kinds of critical wildlife, including a key stop for monarchs on their annual migration south. Oh, hey little buddy. It's a monument to saving water, rejuvenating plants, and of course,
That's No Name Creek.
did you know the garden sits on a hilltop that's also one of the highest points in all of San Antonio? If you didn't, you're not alone. We're still a hidden gem to many. But our intention has always been the opposite, to be accessible, to introduce the garden to more people. And changing our brands will help us do that. Meet the new San Antonio Botanical Garden. We changed to better represent who we are today, where we're going tomorrow, and to help more San Antonians see all the things we have to offer. Sure, it's a big change, yet we know it's the only way to grow. We are the San Antonio Botanical Garden, a place to grow curious.
Okay. So that is our new brand. That is our new. Now can everybody hear me again? Okay, yay. Hopefully
My
we're done
beloved
with
child.
that. Okay. So back to this. That is our new brand video at the garden, and that was one of the things that came out of the master plan. As I was saying, in the master plan, we really had two themes that rose to the top. Plant conservation, how do we become a statewide leader and a national voice in plant conservation? Kind of with the undercurrent of water. So water conservation has always, in our 46-year history, been an important element of who we are, and it's very important in San Antonio being able to message water conservation appropriately. And then also a garden for all, right? So how are we opening our door as wide as possible to the greatest possible audience and really having programming that is relevant to people at all phases and of all walks of life, but also thinking about the physical spaces, right? And the accessibility of those spaces, right? Because we need to make sure that our some of our visitors who have mobility issues are able to have a joyful experience in the garden that is ADA accessible. So that's something that we're also focused on improving as time goes on. So that led to a series of transformations that I'll talk about in just a few moments, but also a capital campaign that is currently underway. We've already raised over $13 million toward our $75 million goal, and we are and the rebrand, right? So the rebrand is important because it has to do with how we are perceived in the community and at the state and national level as well. So really everything that we are doing at the garden either relates in some way to plant conservation, water conservation, or access. If it's not about one of those things, or it doesn't make money to help fund one of those things, then we're pretty much not doing it. So that leads me to one of the initiatives that has come up in that began last August after the July 4th floods. And that is one of the things that's really propelling our conservation programs years into the future and helping us to share what is sometimes an abstract topic in plant conservation and making it more relevant to people in our own backyard. So, the Trees Initiative. The Trees Initiative is our response to the July 4th floods, right? Which, as we know, wiped out up to 90% of the tree canopy in some areas. Some areas it's about 50%. Some areas it's up to 90% over a 30-mile radius in Kerr County last summer. And so I wanted to share a little bit about our response to the flood and how that happened, right? We are collecting native seed, growing, and outplanting. We've committed to 50,000 trees. Likely we will do more. It's based on funding, but likely we will do more. We're already growing more than 25,000 saplings, and we'll have the first outplanting of trees either this fall, depending on how big and strong they are, or early next spring. But it's really important to use. We felt that it was really important to work with trees that were from this ecosystem to preserve the ecosystem and also protect the river and protect against future floods. But I wanted to share a little bit about how that story, the story about how Trees has come together. This is a major initiative now with more than 20 other community partners. It's about a $5 million budget behind this that we're raising money for this, and it's something that has really brought statewide attention to the project. Texas Monthly has covered this, and it's something that we're very excited about. So in the weeks following the flood, myself, our Chief Mission Officer, our VP of Conservation, and our Chief Development Officer were actually driving to Austin. And I think all of us in San Antonio were asking ourselves, what could we do? And we realized that we had the botanist and the horticulturist on staff to do something that was really meaningful, that we could all look back 20 years from now and be proud that we were a part of that, and to share our expertise that was really in line with who we wanted to be. And so that has developed into the largest outreach project that our garden has done. And there are thousands of volunteers who are helping us with this initiative. We're partnering very closely with the Hill Country Alliance, also the Kerr County River Foundation, and as well as the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. And so it's something that we're very passionate about right now. And so please stay tuned, because we hope that number will be much more than 50,000 trees. So, what's next? I also wanted to share a little bit about some of the physical transformations that are coming as a result of our new master plan. So, we wanted to do something when we were talking about the projects that were associated with phase 1 of the master plan. We wanted to start with a catalyst project that would really get people excited about what was happening and start to pay attention and build momentum. And so we decided to push forward. We had just finished, in the video that you saw, you may have seen our conservatories. We just finished a 2.5-year restoration project to replace every single pane of glass in the conservatory. And we couldn't even get it in San Antonio. We had to have it all shipped from Houston piece by piece. And so in celebration of that, we decided to start with what will become the Napier Orchid Pavilion. And so we are reimagining what was the exhibit room, which did have some orchids in it, but it was kind of a horticulturist love affair and a landscape architect's nightmare. And one of the things that we do at a botanical garden is excellence in variety of specimens, but also high design, right? That is, high design is very important to what we do. And we wanted to vet Reed Hildebrand, the landscape architecture firm which is nationally renowned, through this project to see if they were a partner that we wanted to continue on with larger projects in the master plan. And they delivered, absolutely. We are so excited to start construction on the Napier Orchid Pavilion this summer. And we are expanding our collection from 150 to more than 600 species and varieties of orchids. We're part of that collection will focus on Texas orchids, but it'll also have specimens from all over the world, because some of the Texas specimens, to be honest, aren't that showy, and we need some color. Also, the theme is a cloud forest, but I use the word theme because if you visit a cloud forest, say like in Costa Rica, it'll be much more green and less color, and again, more about high design, so lots of color. So please look forward to the new Napier Orchid Pavilion coming in winter 2027. At the same time, of the 5 conservatories, the room that we could not pass up to remodel right now was also the tropical room. So this is a garden that we also are reimagining at the same time. We'll also go under construction starting this summer. And one of the things that's special about this space, reimagining this space, is really tightening the connections between the tropical room, our culinary gardens, and our culinary programs at the garden. We're very blessed to have a director of culinary programs at the garden, so we have a whole menu, if you will, of adult culinary programs as well as children's culinary programs where we teach kids about healthy food, where their food comes from, and easy recipes that they can make at home. So that's the other piece. And then next down the line is our conservation and education building. So this is a building that will be a generational building for the botanical garden. And right now, this week, we are engaging in a balancing exercise. We did a programming study on this last summer. Now we're doing a balancing exercise to make sure that before we move into architect selection, that we have a very clear understanding about everything that this building needs to be and what it doesn't need to be, because it can't be everything. But it's going to be a 2-story building with a living roof that celebrates our conservation programs. So it'll have a tissue culture lab, it'll have general lab space, it will have a multi-purpose space, a small herbarium and library, and more classrooms. Right now, we have about 32,000 kids that come to the garden annually on school tours, and one of the things that we really pride ourselves is in guided experiences for children. So we actually have a disproportionate number of kids that come through guided experiences versus unguided than some of the other cultural institutions, because of course you want to get as many kids through the door, but the more that you can have meaningful programs that show all of that align with the things that they're learning in school, the more memorable that experience is, and the more likely they're going to come back with their families. And our goal is that you make the garden part of your life. So this is that new building. We're very excited about that. Fundraising is underway for that project. Here's another view. It shows how it connects with the new horticulture campus. Our horticulture campus is end of life. We really want to be able to bring more visitors back of house for specialized programs, but quite honestly, there's some safety concerns involved. There's a lot of slip and fall hazards. We don't have generators back there, so every time there is a freeze, we have to bring in generators and say our prayers and clutch our pearls, because we are a living museum and the plants are our collection. We care back in our back of house for more than 30,000 rare and endangered plants and growing. And we produce 80% of our annuals. And then we have 5 plant sales a year, which is a mostly volunteer-run program that generates about $200,000 a year for the garden just from the plant sales. So it's really a meaningful part of what we do, and it's a way for us to share native and adaptive plants with San Antonio. So I just replanted my front yard entirely with plants from the botanical garden that are drought tolerant and got rid of the sod, because it's, you can only pull out sod so many times. So perhaps the project that I'm most excited about, and the one that we're beginning design on next month, is what will become the Charlene McCombs Pollinator Meadow Garden. And this is a garden that it's going to take us about a year to design and about a year to build. And it's named for one of the matriarchs of, the late matriarchs of a very prominent San Antonio family. We're just very honored and delighted that the garden that is named for Mrs. McCombs, and really excited to share this generational garden for San Antonio. There are only a couple of meadow gardens that are near this scale at a botanical garden in the U.S. This will be one of the most iconic views in our city. And it is something that it celebrates our milkweeds collection. It will also celebrate our Texas oaks collection that we are submitting for accreditation this year with the American Public Gardens Association. And it celebrates San Antonio's position as a champion city for monarchs. One of the things that we're very proud about at the garden is our connection to pollinators and also the monarch migration. Our chief mission officer was in Morelia, Mexico back in February, observing and doing research on the monarch migration, and also building relationships to help us build out our orchid collection. So what's happening at the garden right now? There's so much happening. But I wanted to highlight a couple of the things. One of the things that we do to draw repeat visitation is our special exhibitions. Our current special exhibition is called Otherwild, and it's on view through July 7th. And I'll give you all a little secret that's not quite yet public, but we are extending it by popular demand through August 8th. And so it's something that it's really beautiful. It's by artist Patrick Shern. And what it is there's 10 kinetic trees. So these are very theatrical trees that are throughout the garden, that many of them move with the wind. They're really beautiful. And then a skynet. And here is an image of the skynet. And it's made out of kite material, so thousands of pieces of kite material. And we're doing all sorts of wellness classes underneath it. But depending on the time of day that you're underneath it, depends on how much movement there is, or if there's wind or not. And it can get really loud sometimes. But sometimes it sounds like the ocean, and sometimes it's very calm. But it's very cathartic just to watch it. And really, it's been fun having this in the garden. Another thing that we're doing this year is a partnership with the Simons Foundation out of New York City through their Infinite Sums initiative. And that was a broader initiative to connect adults with math. And they were working with different types of cultural institutions across the country. So they came to us and said, hey, we've never worked with the botanical garden before. We want to do this. Can you connect us with your botanical garden friends? And we said, sure. And because botanical gardens are very collaborative. And so we're partnering with these botanical gardens on 3 different activation days in 2026. Pi Day, which we already had, Fibonacci Day, and Infinity Day. So we extended the show because it's going to end actually on Infinity Day, and the Skynet, it was a big circle, so kind of infinity. So the team has had a lot of fun. There was a kickoff last fall where we brought in educators and horticulturists from these 6 different botanical gardens to our garden last fall, and we partnered them with mathematicians from universities around Central Texas. And they had a lot of fun. There was a lot of creativity, and they've all taken that back to their gardens for various types of activations here, but you can get what some of the themes around Pi Day were back in March. And then we have Infinity Day coming up on August 8th. And then Fibonacci Day on 11/23. Okay, more about Fibonacci Day. This just shows a couple of examples of types of programs that we have at the garden. I'm realizing now that that font is a little bit small, but our website has much more variety about those programs. This Friday night, we are doing a special viewing of the documentary Hope for the Guadalupe, which the garden is featured in, and it's about the riparian recovery of the Guadalupe River following the disaster that happened last year. And there's going to be a panel discussion with Ben Masters, who is the director of that documentary. And it's a PBS documentary that will also eventually be at Alamo Draft House and then on PBS and YouTube. And then I wanted to share a little bit sneak peek about what's coming next this fall. October is a very big season for us at the garden. It's arguably the most beautiful month in the garden. And so a few years ago, we started really playing around with marigolds. And the first year we were like, we're going to grow 10,000 marigolds. And we were like, yes, let's do it. It's a bunch of marigolds. and so we did it. And then we did 15 and 20. And then last year we had a living mural on Concert Lawn, which was kind of our precursor to the meadow garden that I showed you all. Which people loved. And we also did one 17-foot tall Katrina with a living skirt that was made almost entirely of marigolds. And people loved it. I mean, they loved it. So we asked ourselves, okay, and that's what's so great about our team is everybody's always so many creative people. So how can we take this idea, this kernel of idea, and grow it and really make it into something? And we know that people like coming to the garden in the evenings. They like coming, making traditions out of coming to the garden. We've learned that from the light show. If you've ever been to our light show that's over the holidays, we have a tremendous light show. About 83,000 people come to it now. It'll be in its 6th year this year. But we were thinking about October and how can we do that and lean into Hispanic Heritage Month and Dia de los Muertos and San Antonio's love for Dia de los Muertos. And so that led us to Katrina's, Jardín de las Catrinas. And this is a rendering of what part of the installation will look like. Here's a rendering of what may be in the decompression room. But it is, it's a little, this one's a little dark, but those are actually meant to be the butterflies behind her are all hand-painted corn husks that are meant to look like monarchs. So it's going to be pretty stunning. And so that's a little bit about what's coming to the garden into the near future. But before I leave you and open it up to questions, I wanted to just share one more moment about the garden and my connection to it. I was sharing earlier at our table that one of the things that I am so that inspires me as a leader of a cultural institution is the opportunities to bring joy into community. And so when I think about that, one of the images that comes to mind is this image here. And that's because that's my little girl a couple years ago. That's Gracie. And she's in my favorite spot in the garden, which is out by the lake. And when I think about this picture, I don't think about recycled water because the lake is on recycled water, or strategy, Or what percentage of our guests actually go out to the lake? Only about half of our visitors actually realize that we have a lake. But I think about Gracie, and in this picture, she's about 7 years old, and she's in this really sweet little outfit with little cherries on it, and she's reaching out to that turtle, which I just know is going to bite her, but but it didn't. And she's not worried about it. She doesn't care. She's just being present, right? And she's experiencing life and enjoying life and creating space for joy in life. And that is what the garden is all about. And we invite you to make the garden a part of your lives if you haven't already. There's so many ways to do that. If you want to volunteer, come to the light show. Come on Friday and see the lecture. There's so many different ways to plug in, but we are just very appreciative to have this opportunity to build community in San Antonio. So thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, we've got a question. Who's got some mics? Got a question over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any plans to bring the restaurant back?
So right now, the restaurant, back in May, we closed Hardin, and the rationale behind that was we ended the contract with Jason Dady, and we knew we were going to be moving into a phase of construction very soon, and we didn't feel like we'd be a good partner if we opened the restaurant up right now. So we converted that back into private rental space and badly needed office space in upstairs. And what we have done in the short term is that we've opened a coffee shop. And so there's a coffee shop now. When you walk into the garden, on your right-hand side as you turn into the culinary garden, we have a coffee shop there. And we also are doing pop-up bars and food trucks on high-traffic days. So long-term, yes, we'll bring back a restaurant. But in the short term, we've got the coffee shop.
Yeah, we like the bars here. Everybody seems to enjoy those things.
Yes, yes.
I was just there 2 weeks ago, and the coffee shop's really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Good, good. Well, thank you.
All right, another question. Got one over here. John?
A question relative to your staff. How big is your staff?
Oh, over here.
How
Okay,
big
sorry.
is
I was like, where is it coming from?
How big is your staff, and
so-
how many botanists do you have?
So we have about 175 employees at the peak of the light show. Normally, it's about 150. Our horticulture team is about 24 people, and then our conservation team has 4 full-time staff. So 4.5 full-time staff. So our conservation team, we're really growing. 5 years ago, we didn't have a conservation team. And so that's an area that we're really growing. So our botanists are on our conservation team, and then the horticulturists are on the horticulture team, but they work like this.
Tell us about what volunteers, anybody who's interested in doing volunteer work.
Yes, so we have about 1,400 volunteers. And so we have a really busy volunteer coordinator named Chloe, who's a wonderful human. And about 300 of those volunteers come on a weekly or monthly basis. And there's so many things you can do volunteer at the garden. You can be a docent. You can be a master gardener. You can help with the conservation programs and clean seeds, or help propagate rare and endangered plants. You can work as a plant cell volunteer and help grow plants for the plant cells. You can help in the help the development team. You can help the education team. We have volunteers that help with our culinary programs, with our children's programming, our early childhood programming. There is the sky is really the limit in terms of volunteer opportunities. Obviously, and then I'm forgetting just gardening. I mean, we absolutely need help with our volunteers with watering and weeding. And so we also do a lot of one and done volunteers, where they'll come in groups of like 30 to 40 people and say, okay, we need help with this. They'll work with a couple of members of the hort team. We're going to work on this section today. We need to weed this section. We're going to plant these plants, and we're going to, cut this back, or put down mulch, or a whole myriad of things.
What about cost if people want to come?
Okay, so the best way to come to the garden is to be a member. And memberships start at $75 for seniors. and that means you get free admission to the garden year-round. And a good majority of our programming is free with admission and free for members. And then we also do one free day a year, which this year will be Make Music Day on June 21st. And then what we're introducing are some locals days similar to what the zoo does, where there's a reduced cost admission to the garden. One of the things that we're focused on and building our outdoor access programs is in terms of our free and low cost programming, because this year we'll bring 50,000 people to the garden through our access programs.
Wow.
It's not just through school tours like Title I school tours, or through things like our Nature Navigator program, where we partner with nonprofits in Bexar County and around to bring people on our bus to the garden for free programming based on their interests. But it's also about removing the cost barrier too. So anybody that expresses a need, we're a part of Museums for All, which is a national program that offers free and low cost admission to cultural institutions. So for that, anybody that you used to have to show that you were on SNAP or WIC to be a part of that, eligible for that program. Now you just have to express a need. And so anybody that expresses a need can come to the garden for $3, or they can have a family membership for $25. And so now we have over 600 member households that are a part of our community membership program, and they are eligible for all of the general membership benefits.
Cool. Question? Other questions over here?
No?
No?
Okay. Well, we have lots of fun things coming up too. The light show will be back right before Thanksgiving, and we just really would welcome any opportunity to partner with your group too. There's lots of that might be something to connect with the access coordinator on too, because we work with lots of senior centers and different types of groups across the community. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Okay, before we run off, I'd like to give you one of our challenge coins from the Ark. We really appreciate you coming out.
I'm delighted to be here. Okay.
And one other thing, y'all can move in anytime. Well, and maybe you need to be a little older.
Y'all would want my girls to be gone.
Yeah, well, you got to be a little older. But anyway, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you all next month, if not sooner. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Good.